Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I am doing great, thank you. Happy to be here today.
It looks like you're in your hair studio. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, I am in, I guess you'd call it the Your Hair Mentor Studio. Yes.
There you go. There you go. Your hair mentor studio. And whereabouts is that?
I am located in Reno, Nevada.
Ah, yes. I like Reno, Nevada. I fly into Reno, Nevada to go to Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is one of my family's favorite places.
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant to talk too much about Reno because I feel like it's this secret that all the locals have. Reno has this reputation with the dirty underbelly, right? Or it's like the little sister to Vegas because we've got casinos here. And although that is part of the culture here, there is so much more to Reno, and it is such a beautiful place to live.
I like that a lot. And I'm not surprised to hear you say that because it is one of those places you never hear about, really. Like I just said, I fly in and then I'm going somewhere else. You've got all those really great, resorty sort of residential developments, like Martis Camp and all those places like that. But you never hear much about Reno. So maybe we should stop talking about it.
I know, right? Actually, no, it's disgusting.
Listeners.
It's terrible. Don't come here. I can't believe I live
crime.
here.
Tremendous
Yes.
crime. Nobody
Yes.
actually lives there. They're just going through.
Yes, exactly.
All right. You are a hairdresser who now focuses on educating other hairdressers and improving their businesses behind the chair. You help beauty pros get from wantrepreneur, I love that word, to successful entrepreneur. And you have so many other good descriptors on your website. I'm just going to kind of leave it there. I thought that one was a really good summary. And then, of course, as we get into what you're doing, we're going to get into a lot of, details about that. So why don't we start with where you're from originally and how did you get into hair?
Oof. It's actually a really good story. I'm so glad you asked. So I'm not from Reno. I'm originally from Chico, California, which is like a small farm town with a little college in the top end of California. Okay. And growing up in Chico, there's not a lot of industry there. We've got like a hospital, we've got a brewery, and the college. And beyond that, there's really no great career jobs. Or so I thought growing up. And at some point I realized I love Chico. I want to stay in Chico. I want to do something where, I impact my community and I'm kind of in an elevated position, but I didn't want to be a teacher and I didn't want to work at the hospital. And so at some point I fixated on dentistry. Okay.
That's a good one.
I know. And I was one of those people that was totally into going and getting my teeth cleaned. I loved going to the dentist. And so I thought, you know what, maybe this is the career for me. And so I latched onto that and held onto that vision all the way from fourth grade through high school. And I ended up one day giving my little sister a haircut. Okay, let me backtrack. Junior year of high school, I bought a haircutting razor at a yard sale.
Oh.
And I don't know why this woman sold me this haircutting razor, but I bought a feather razor with a guard on it for 25 cents at a yard sale. And
seems like a good price. I probably would buy one of those too.
I know. I was I don't know what this thing is, but my mom used to love going to yard sales, so I was here for it. And at that point, I like to do my own hair. I like to do my friends' hair. I was styling hair for prom, cutting with orange-handled kitchen scissors. And so I come across this razor. And I give my little sister a haircut with it. Now this is in my senior year of high school. I finally convinced my sister.
And how old was your sister?
She's 4 years younger than I am.
Okay.
Completely uninterested in anything that has to do with beauty stuff at all whatsoever. So
tomboyish?
She's sure, whatever. Hack at my hair. I don't care. So I give her this haircut. And my mom is we need to go get this fixed. This doesn't look right. And at the time, I graduated high school in 2001. So this is almost at the point where I'm graduated. And I don't know if you remember the haircuts back then, but there was a lot of the short kind of flippy hairstyles that were happening. Okay, so it was
kind of like Meg Ryan a little
yes,
bit. Yeah,
exactly. So I was kind of emulating that on my sister's hair, and my mom hated it. So I went with her to a salon to get her hair fixed. And the hairdresser was so sweet. She's minus a few angles here and there, this is pretty decent haircut for this look. And I nudged my mom and I was see, told you. And the woman looked at me and she's like, you did this haircut? I was like, yes, I did this haircut. She's like, have you had any training? I'm like, no, I haven't had any training. And so she basically talked me into just going down the street and looking at the beauty school because it's a short program. She heard that I wanted to be a dentist, but she's like, you could do this while you're going to dental school. So I ended up going because I thought, well,
interesting.
I'm like, it's a 10-month program. I had to pay my way through college anyway. I was going to have to get a job. And so I thought, well, it would be fun to do hair kind of in the evenings. It was in my head versus waiting tables. I didn't see them as anything different. Okay. So I go to beauty school, had a great time. It was fun. And I'm going to fast forward you to the day where I decided to actually be a hairdresser. Okay. So I'd spent the morning in the dental office, seeing all these patients come in, lamenting the same way, something to the effect of like, ugh, I've been dreading this all week, right? Which is normal. And not everyone's like me. Not everyone's a strange child who loves going to the dentist. Do you like going to the dentist?
Me? No.
Yeah. No, right?
Well, I mean, but I could see how you would like it. You know, if you had this fascination with it, absolutely.
Right. Okay. So most people aren't like me, right? And then I go into
especially young people. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And then I go into my job, which was at the time in the mall hair salon. Malls were cool.
Of course.
And I start my shift in the mall hair salon, and this woman comes in who had called in to get a haircut with anyone that day. All right. She didn't get a referral. It was just like, I need a haircut. Get me in.
Straight up walk in.
Yes. Actually, I mean, like call an hour ahead of time, right? So since I was the newbie, I got her. Now, as I'm seating her in my chair, whipping my drape around her neck, she gives out this audible sigh of relief, just this big, and she says, I've been looking forward to this all day.
Wow.
And I look at her and I was like, oh my God. Immediately, I'm like, I can't be a dentist anymore. And I said out loud to her,
people don't like going to the dentist.
Yeah. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, I could be the best of the best dentist. I could be the most affordable, the most gentle, the most kind. And people are going to have that like sick feeling in their stomach when they come to see me. And yet this woman who doesn't even know if I can cut in a straight line feels so good being here. And so at that moment, I was like, I like this and I want to feel this out a little bit more. I definitely don't want to be a dentist, but I want to do something for a living that makes people feel good and fulfills that kind of altruistic sense of like, I'm doing good in the world. And so that is when I really started my career in hairdressing.
Very interesting. That's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating maybe because I wouldn't have thought, I didn't expect that when because I did read about you wanting to be a dentist, but I didn't expect that. But it makes all the sense in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you no longer wanted to be a dentist. So then did you kind of refocus or begin to focus with your hair career in a whole new way?
Yeah, I still struggled with embracing being a hairdresser as my career. Because up until this point, I still didn't see it as very valuable. I thought it was just this like fun thing that I would do until I got my real job later. Yeah. And so at this point, when I had this aha moment, I'd already had some schooling under my belt. I was going to school part-time, working in the dental office part-time, and working in the hair salon. And so I didn't want to waste these college credits. And I still had this vision of like doing something bigger and better with my life and like helping my community. I didn't understand my true value, purpose, and impact as a hairdresser. And so I dabbled in nursing, I dabbled in nutrition, physical therapy, and I took all of these like, very technical classes, basically until I ran out of classes I could take at the junior college. And then I came to a point in my career and my schooling career where I had to move to the large college, which cost a lot more money. And that would mean that I would have to either stop working behind the chair or stop going to school. I couldn't do both. I couldn't just work part-time and school part-time. But at this time, I was making 6 figures behind the chair already without even truly embracing the career. I had moved into a booth rental situation and I was just slaying it behind the chair just for fun.
Clients loved you.
Funsies. Yes. It was great. But again, I had this like idea that it was just this fun thing that I was doing until I
While
got
you're
my
making
real
six
job.
figures. Isn't that
Literally.
funny?
I was looking back. I'm like, oh my God, if I could tell myself back then to just wake up. But I finally realized like, you know, I'd have to walk away from all of these relationships and all of these people that I'd kind of made bonds with and that they, you know, trusted me with their hair. And why did I want to go to school? I wanted to go to school to be important, to, you know, make a change. And I'm thinking about all my clients, like the nurses, the teachers, the local news reporters, and all of these very important people in my community that relied on me. I was their go-to person, right? Like I was their confidant. I made them feel good. And in that moment, I was like, okay, this is where I'm meant to be. And so now I'm looking at like, I'm 5 years into my career when I finally was like, okay, I'm a hairdresser.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be the best hairdresser that I could be, probably.
Yes. Now it's time to lean in and get serious.
Very interesting. Okay, so what did that mean for you, leaning in and getting serious?
What that meant is actually paying attention to saving money, paying attention to inventory. I mean, like I literally was just flying by the seat of my pants when I was working previously. Like I sold products at the salon, but like not really. You know, I was willy-nilly with booking my appointments. If people canceled, I just kind of didn't care. And so I really buckled down on trying to be a good business person and make my business work for me. And really that was like setting boundaries and limiting hours that I worked and, you know, saving and investing, going to classes, all of the stuff that I think of when I think of a hairdresser who's taking themselves seriously.
Right. And so you were independent already, but of course you could be independent just kind of coasting, or you can be an independent. That's the great thing about being independent. You could do it the way you want to do it. Yeah. And you recognize that you were just coasting and you wanted to get a little bit more serious and a little bit more adult.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And at that time, you know, it's crazy is like my cost of living was so low too, because I was young. I had roommates, you know, no children. Like we talked about, it was like we both have kids now and families. I don't even know if I had a car at that time. I might have only had like a bicycle because Chico's so small. I just biked everywhere. I had a scooter at one point. But I lived like a baller, I thought, previous to taking myself seriously, because people are just paying me all this money and I'm just like, you know, spending it on whatever I wanted to with no cost to my living. So it was like such a wake up call. But yeah, so then, you know, leaning in, taking myself seriously, I invested in education. I looked into working for some brands as educators. I helped organize the salon I was at and their like commission structure for retail. And I feel like then I really found that sense of fulfillment that I was looking for with all of these, you know, college classes I was taking.
Interesting. Okay. So what next? How did you find your way to Reno?
Oh gosh. So, fast forward a few years, I was working in a smaller boutique salon at the time. I think I was working like a condensed schedule at that time, but like charging a lot for my services. So I was making good money and not working a ton. Steady clientele.
Because you had kids?
No, I did not have kids yet. Nope. Okay. I had this. What's that?
Why did you cut down on hours?
Because I wanted to have fun. I had this kind of other epiphany. I got rid of an old boyfriend, really, and like woke up and was like, who is Crystal and what does Crystal want out of her life? And so I was going on scuba diving trips and, you know, just like enjoying life. And I wanted to have time to really savor life. And so I'd cut back my work hours and raised my prices and got rid of the clients that didn't suit me anymore and really was in a good spot. And then my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, new boyfriend, good boyfriend.
Yeah, not the one you scuttled.
Yeah, no. This is like, you know, Crystal 2.0 met boyfriend 2.0. Things are way better now. Yes, and he went to fire academy, decided he wanted to be a fireman. And when it came time to find a job, this is when California was in the middle of a crisis and was laying off firemen. Oh. And he wasn't
Oh,
going to find
budget
a...
crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
We're
not
good at that.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry. All the way from Nevada here. He wasn't going to get a job in California as a firefighter. And so we
Very
decided
hard.
to look elsewhere, and he ended up getting hired for the city of Austin in Texas.
Oh, fantastic.
And so I told him, I said, you know what? I have been in Chico my whole life. I've got this new sense of like adventure that I've discovered in myself, and I don't see myself just walking away from this job, this career that I've created, unless I have a reason. And so let's move. Let's just start over.
Wow. So I'm going to I'm going to recommend my clients to somebody else, and I'm going to pick up and move.
Kind of. What ended up happening is...
Oh, you traveled back.
We moved to Texas, and I would travel back. Every 6 weeks, I'd come back and work for like 6 days straight and just like hammer it out. And then I would go back to Texas and basically recover.
Yeah.
And so I did that for like a year. And then in the meantime, met people in Texas, met some stylists in Texas, and ended up kind of building a clientele there in the in between. Mm-hmm. Then I got pregnant, decided to stop traveling because that's not a great idea to travel with an infant. Well, and also like my husband was working back in Texas. I'm like, who's going to watch my kid for me? It didn't work. Right. Logistics didn't pan out anymore. So I left the Chico clientele finally. And then in Texas, it took us a couple years to figure out that that was not where we wanted to put down roots. It's a great place to live, but not for us. We are outdoorsy mountain people, and there are no mountains to be had in Texas.
Even in Austin, which is considered the hill, because I'm from Dallas.
Yeah.
Austin is considered the hill country. But they're like little hills. They're not mountains.
Yeah, I was just trying to describe this to someone the other day, that it's the weirdest sensation when you've grown up somewhere and you're used to driving up a hill and getting to the top of a hill and having a view, right? Like you're gaining elevation and you can like look out the land around you. In hill country, you get to the top of a hill and you just see other hills. Right. Like there's no big view anywhere. No. And it always felt like I was going to be like picked off the land by a vulture or something. Like I was just so exposed out there. It didn't
The eagles and the hawks are definitely out there.
Totally. And so, yeah, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for us.
Got it.
So now we're looking for another place to live again. And my husband's job is determining where we end up, more or less. We need a city that can hire firemen. And I'm like, listen, I can build a clientele anywhere. We're fine. So we came for a visit to Reno, and it was either Reno or Boise. And Reno is driving distance to our family. Boise's another 6 hours beyond that. Wow. And so we came to Reno, not assuming we would love it. And we came here. And again, like, Reno's disgusting. Don't come here. It's terrible. But that's right. I came here and I was like, no. I was like, you know what? I could see myself raising a family here. It's like very low key and easygoing. And Austin had become so congested and busy that we were like, why not? Let's just do it. We're good at kind of, flying off the seat of our pants and just going with it. And so we ended up in Reno, and I built for the third time a clientele here and opened, I worked in a salon for a little bit first that was like a full service spa, and then quickly built enough clientele that I went and rented a suite and did my own thing there.
Yeah. Wow. And when you say quickly, 3 months, 6 months?
3 months.
Wow. Yeah, are you kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, okay. No, I'm going to let you continue with the story, but I want to get back to how you did that because, of course, the listeners want to know.
Yeah, which is part of what I like to help people understand now too. So I'd love to talk about that. So I had my suite, loved it, had the suite life going on for a while, and then COVID hit, and like so many conversations I'm sure you've had, right? It was like the big awakening for a lot of us. And, I, for the first time in my career, felt like this isn't fun anymore. And I don't know if you remember, when I first started, it was the fun job, right? That was the allure of the industry for me. And I told myself, I will keep doing this as long as it is still fun and exciting, right? Because that's what it had always been for me. Mm-hmm. And so, COVID, going back to work after the shutdown, just felt so, I don't know, medicinal and just impersonal, really.
Well, everybody was worried about everything.
Yes, that. And then having a suite, my clientele in my suite, the majority of my clients were mothers with young children. I was a mother with young children. We had a lot of camaraderie with that. They would bring their children with them. In a good way. I had a very respectful relationship with my clients, and I run a tight ship with that stuff. Okay. And so it was a welcoming space for these young kids to come sit and color with their moms while their moms got their hair done. Well, the rules after COVID were no one was allowed to come in with the paying client, right? One human body at a time. And there were salons in Reno getting shut down for that. Yeah. And so they were hardcore about it. And so it was like, what am I going to do with this? Like, this is just too much. So I shut down my salon in, I think it was the end of July of 2020.
Okay.
So we came back to work and I basically was like, I'm out. This is not fun anymore. And bought our house that we're in now, which has a 4th bedroom, which turned into my office as I figured out my new life. So I started writing a book. Because let me rewind. During COVID, I'm sure a lot of stylists that you've talked to went through this, where we were trying to figure out how to help our clients through this shutdown too, because even though we weren't essential, our clients all thought we were. And I was coaching a lot of clients on how to cut their husband's hair, how to cut their children's hair. I was doing Zoom calls, showing them how to do things just to try to get them by, because it was, a couple more weeks, right?
Right.
I enjoyed that. I really liked that aspect of it. And so, when I shut down my salon, I thought, well, maybe I can do something like that, but for more people than just my clients on my cell phone. Maybe I could write a book, or I could make lessons. And so I focused on that at first. And then after a kind of a progression of Your Hair Mentor, which was originally intended to help the customer with their hair and have them have a better experience with their stylist, I realized I need to empower stylists on their own to empower their own clients and go through that information sharing that I had with my clients. And then over the last 4 years, there's been multiple iterations of Your Hair Mentor and what it is about and how I can help you. And I'm still under evolution, as a lot of entrepreneurs are. I don't think it'll ever end, but now I find myself running a podcast. I have a hair studio that's mostly used for content purposes, recording purposes, and coaching purposes. And now I'm here today with you.
Awesome. Okay, so how did you build up so quickly? So you built first time in Chico, second time in Austin, third time in Reno. Mm-hmm. So what are your best tips on how to build?
So, some skills I picked up along the way before social media came around, right? Because each time I built my clientele, there was a change in the industry and how we seek out clients, how they seek out us. When I first started doing hair, back in the olden days, no social media meant you were out there talking to people. You were literally physically putting yourself in front of people and introducing yourself. And so I figured out a way to hone in on who I wanted in my chair and go seek out those people. And I feel like I have this in my brain. It's like, if I'm looking for something, I'm going to go find it in every aspect of my life, whether I'm at the grocery store, whether I'm taking my kids to swim class. I had a person that I was always looking for as a client. And so I would purposefully put myself in front of people and talk to them, like a waitress at a restaurant. Even if she wasn't my waitress, I would see someone and be like, I want to do that girl's hair. I'd find an excuse to go talk to her, hand her my card, talk about her hair, whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And fast forward to Reno. I thought, all right, here we go. Time number 3. I'm going to do my tried and true, going to go client shopping, look for those people I want to get in my chair. And there was a girl at the bank. I walk in one day and I'm like, that's the teller I need to go to because she's got cute hair and I know what I want to do with her hair. So I get up there and I'm chatting her up about her hair. And sure enough, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for a new hairdresser. I'm so glad you said that. You sound amazing. What's your number? And I hand her my card, which at the time only had my phone number and my name on it, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's how we'd always done business. Yeah. And I was not really into Facebook at the time. It was kind of like, it never was something I got into. I didn't need to. definitely was not using Instagram. This is in 2017 when this happened. And she looks at me and she looks at the card. She says, "Cool. What's your handle?" I was like, "I'm sorry, my what?" She's like, "Your handle." I was like, shaking my head, like, "I'm not following what you're saying." She's like, "On Instagram?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not on Instagram." Like, "Oh, silly girl."
Yeah.
She looks at me with this smile on her face, and I was like, oh my God, she is going to put my card in that trash can the second I turn around. She was like, "Cool, thanks." And I was like, how the heck did I just lose that sale? Oh my God. So not only do I have to be able to find these people, but now there's another step involved in the process. And so I dug in hard on Instagram and really understood what clients were looking for just by asking people. It was like, okay, so when you're looking for a hairstylist, these are friends of mine, people I'd meet. What are you looking for? When you look on Instagram, why are you looking? What do you want to see? And it was just hair. I was like, okay, I'm going to start taking pictures of hair then. And I'd taken pictures over the years, but like not really, because I didn't have anywhere to post them. So why would I just take hair pictures, right? So I had to hone in on new skills. And so I did that, and then very quickly was able to establish a client base because I was like a door-to-door salesman. Everywhere I would go, I was looking for people to hand my card to, which now had my Instagram handle.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did you go back to the bank and talk to that teller?
I didn't. And I felt like I should, but I was like, I think she's already written me off as like out of, touch or whatever. So if I did that now, I would go back. But like, I don't think I still had like maybe the confidence that I have now,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So funny.
It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's the way life is, right?
It's so true. I was like, gosh dang it. Now I have to learn another thing. Here we go.
So what is your best advice to the hairdresser who's listening to what you're saying, but maybe is not so good at walking up to the client at the grocery store who's like in the fruit section along with you, and the hairdresser's looking at that client, the potential client, they know they want to do their hair, but they just can't get themselves to go talk to them?
I think you have to understand that you need to make it about the client and not you. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make, especially when they're approaching someone they don't know, is they think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go and say, "I want to do your hair. I'm a hairdresser. Please come see me," right? Instead, you need to frame your communications with that person all about them. And so what I would do is I would pick some element to compliment someone on. That was my opener, right?
Give me an example.
"Oh my God, those are the cutest shoes. Where did you get those?" Right? I'd figure out in like 3 seconds if this person was going to communicate with me back or not, right? That's your like easy, like low hanging fruit. Are they going to make eye contact? Are they going to smile with you? Are they going to be engaged at all whatsoever? If not, I'm moving on, right? You could pick them out pretty easy. So you start with something like that, or like, "Gosh, that haircut is so cute on you. Where did you get your hair done? I love it. Do you have any friends that want a haircut like that?" Because honestly, that is actually my favorite kind of haircut to do because I'm a hairdresser also. And like, obviously I don't want to take you away from your hairdresser, but if you have any friends that want to wear that haircut, let me know. I'm here for it. Stuff like that, where you're like complimenting them, engaging with them, but you're not outwardly saying, "Hi, my name's Crystal and I'd love to do your hair."
Yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's nice. That's good advice.
So another thing that I like to tell people is like, understand why you want to talk to someone, right? So I think this goes back to, and this is why I've gone through so many iterations as a coach, is because I keep peeling back these layers with people. Go back to who you are as a brand and who you're serving, right? When you recognize who you want in your chair, and I don't mean like an age or a race or a gender, I mean like the type of hair you want to do, right? When you understand that and like where you are strong and skilled, you can go seek that out. It's way easier to find people that you know are going to align with what you're offering, right? Mm-hmm. So first you have to understand who it is you're going to serve. Then you can speak to them and communicate with them in a way that they're going to feel like, this person might actually be a good fit for me. Does that make sense?
And I imagine when you first started doing this, you weren't very good at it, and then you got better and better with each try, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I have been rejected so many times. It is like, especially when I started out, like the majority of cards I would hand out. Now, let me tell you this. I never just put a card on someone's desk or somewhere without talking to them. That to me is like cold calling someone without an explanation, right? So I would always engage with someone and then hand them my card. And like 90% of people didn't call me, right? They probably were like, oh, cute, thanks, whatever. But I did get better. And then you get more practiced and it comes easier and you figure out how to just have light conversation with people to figure out where they're at. And then you can go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you do it over time, you get better and better and better. It becomes less petrifying because I'm trying to focus in on, the person, the listener who is petrified at talking to other people. And I want them so desperately to just try.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really feel like if you can't talk to people comfortably, then this might not be the best career for you. I have a perspective that I think some people disagree with. I think we're like in sales. Okay. And a lot of people don't like to think of us that way, but especially when you're working for yourself, you are 100% your own salesperson. You are selling yourself and your services and what you have to offer 100% of the time. And if you can't belly up and do that, you're not going to be as booked as you want to be. You're not going to be making the income you want to make. You will not have the success that you want to have. Now, if you have a boss and you work under someone that is doing that, bringing people for you, that is different. But if you are independent and pushing for your own, business as an entrepreneur and you want to be an entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur, you need to have that drive to sell yourself.
Yeah. And by the way, if you have a boss who's bringing clients in, you're making a lot less money.
Yes.
Because the boss is going to keep more of the money. That's just the natural way that it works.
Yeah, it's kind of like that risk to reward thing, right? Like you risk a lot to get rewarded a lot. And if you are on your own, you are risking a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're now talking to lots of different hairdressers, helping them with their businesses. What give us kind of an average profile of one of your clients, if you will.
Yeah.
These are your new clients, right?
Yes.
So are these hairdressers who are new to the industry, been around a while? Kind of who's the typical?
Actually surprising, what I thought was my target audience has not been that way at all whatsoever. So I launched a course back in January called Salon Experience Academy. Let me just back up and say that like the perspective that I come from as a coach and a mentor is that like communication is everything, right? Customer service, communication, all of these things just turn you into a well-rounded person with lots of soft skills that you can be a mediocre hairstylist, but if you're a really good communicator and you are very, very well-versed in making relationships with people, you will probably succeed, okay? So I made a course and I launched it, Salon Experience Academy. It was all about these soft skills that you need to elevate your career, and I was gearing it towards someone who's like the 5-year stylist, like myself, who's really ready to take themselves seriously. So maybe they're like, mid-20s up to like 30. That has not been the case at all whatsoever. The majority of people that I have helped are on the end of their career. They're like in their 50s, or they are fresh out of beauty school and they're just like, I have no idea how to talk to people, and I just know that I don't know what I don't know. So it's like opposite ends of the spectrum where I thought I'd be hitting middle ground, which has just not been the case. It's very interesting to me. Now, I will say the people that are on the end of their career, I feel like there's a sense of urgency for them. They're getting to this point where they're like, okay, I need to like level up a little bit more here to make myself an exit strategy, or, maybe like nest eggs some more before I retire. They're starting to feel like maybe they're getting a little bit behind in things because there's these like 30-something hairdressers that are coming in hot with their high prices, and they're feeling really like imposter syndrome with that. And then the like small baby stylists just need help with everything.
I don't know why that sounded so funny. They need help with everything.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they learn a little in beauty school, which is, kind of what you expect, but they see on social media now these people, these wonderful, successful hairdressers that are, working part-time, making all this money, doing this beautiful hair. They're doing all these models. It just is like this glamorous pedestal that they have put, everyone like their goal on, basically. And so they come out of beauty school just like starstruck, like, I just don't even know where to start,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so intimidated.
Yes.
So many of the ones in beauty school are so intimidated.
Yes.
By what they see online all the time.
Yes.
And maybe that's kind of the other side of the coin to social media. Mm-hmm. They have exposure to a lot of different things and education, etc. But it can also be intimidating for certain personalities.
For sure.
Okay, there was something on your website that I liked a lot. The top 6 reasons why people fail in business.
Gosh.
Do you have those on the top of your head, or do you want me to lead you down?
I do not have them on the top of my head. I know they're on there.
I love this kind of thing, not because I like to be negative, but because sometimes negative things are instructive. That's why usually at the end of my episodes, I do a hair horror story, because it's funny, one, and it's very educational, too. Instead of just being like all positive, like, yeah, do this, do that, sometimes don't do this. It can be more effective. So top 6 reasons why people fail in business. Number 1, a missing or messy value statement that confuses potential clients.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. The value statement, it's funny. As a hairdresser, this almost takes longer to explain than someone who's trying to have an online business, because your value statement is going to be like top of your website, first thing people see and understand about you when they land on your website. And as a hairdresser, if we speak to hairdressers here, that is what your clients are going to understand about you as a hairdresser, right? So if you are someone that specializes in curly hair or young moms, or you find a value statement that's going to resonate with those people. Like, I do laid back hairdressing for busy moms that don't have a lot of time, right? Like, that is a value statement for a hairdresser instead of just, I do hair. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more refined, and it speaks to your target audience these days. Right.
Very good. Number 2, marketing and networking that doesn't bring you ideal customers.
Yes. Yeah.
So give us an example of that. So we talked about the positive example, finding the person in the grocery store, for example. Talk about what you see people doing that's bringing them the wrong clients.
Right. So let's say you have a friend that does nails and you do hair. And, you're going to trade services because that's cool and that's fun. And like, why not, right? We both get value out of it. But that girl that does nails, her clients are not your ideal clients at all whatsoever. To me, that is not a good working relationship, because what you want in every single networking opportunity as a business, you want to be networking with people that are going to bring you ideal clients, right? So when you do this girl's hair and she's sitting there doing her client's nails and they're going, oh my gosh, your hair is so cute. Where do you go? And she tells them, you don't want those people, right? Maybe some of them, maybe a small percentage of them, but it would behoove you to instead find someone to either trade or pay services to that is going to send you your ideal clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Number 3, offering services or products that are confusing or not as popular as they could be.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how many menus have you seen on salons' websites or even in person that are so convoluted that clients don't even understand what it is they are booking?
It's
right?
like the Cheesecake Factory of salon services.
Oh my gosh. And I know we're trying to make it sound sexy. Like that is what we're trying to do, but all we're doing is confusing clients when we try to come up with new words and new ideas and just I don't know. Just keep it simple. Keep it really simple and very clear and direct what it is you're offering. Then you can add value when you talk about that with your client in person, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Some people don't like to make choices.
Yes.
So make it easy for them to choose which service they're getting, right?
Yes. Yes.
Number 4, leaving thousands of dollars on the table with no real sales strategy. Again, the S word.
Yes, exactly. You have to think of yourself as a salesperson first and foremost. Like, I'm going to give you an example of an opportunity where you could sell someone on something. And some people are going to feel like this is like smarmy and kind of sleazy. But at the end of
Hairdressers hate sales.
Hairdressers hate sales.
Yeah.
But you can do it in a way that is like natural and actually like ethical, right? So let's say you are washing your client's hair in the shampoo bowl, and once you get their hair wet, it feels so brittle. And you're like, oof, I did not realize this person's hair was in such a struggle bus right now. You could just give them a treatment and not tell them about it. You could give them the treatment and say, hey, I'm doing this on you. Or you could say, oh my gosh, Mary, your hair feels so dry. I didn't realize it until I put my hands in the water with your hair here. Can you feel this right now? Have them touch their hair. I would love to give you a treatment for this today that is going to make it shinier and softer and add a little bit of moisture. And then I can make a recommendation of something that you can take home with you because I really think this needs to be addressed. You just sold them on not only an upgraded service, but a product they're going to take home. And so if you have that sales mindset with everything you're doing, you will make so much more money behind the chair.
And it's a helping mindset.
Yes. But also selling, like close the sale.
Right. It's that to help, it takes more time. It takes product, which is money oriented.
Right.
And your client is willing to pay for that if you communicate it, if you educate them about it. Mm-hmm. And of course, I can hear the listeners, especially those listeners who hate thinking about themselves as salespeople. They think, well, I don't want the rejection of Janice in the shampoo bowl thinking that I'm just trying to get more money from her. But the worst case scenario in this example is that Janice says, no thanks.
Right. And I think so many of us get our heads wrapped up in the fact that if Janice says no, she's not saying no to you or, you being a good hairdresser. She's just saying no to what you're offering. That's it. It's just an offer. But if you don't make offers to people, you're not going to make sales either.
And a lot of hairdresser coaches say if you're not making offers to your clients or suggesting certain things to your clients, you're not doing your job as their hair expert.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. And then, one of the ways that I've always done it too is to give people choices, right? Like let's say, use that example of someone that needs a treatment mask. Hey, listen, I can do this one that does this for you, or we can do this other one where I'm going to have to like put you under the dryer for a little bit. Like which one sounds like the best opportunity or choice for you today? Mm-hmm. It's like you're speaking to a toddler, do you want the red cup or the blue cup? Does it really matter? No, but you're giving them the choice. Then they're going to feel good about it. They're going to feel more invested in that choice and then be happy.
Yep. I like it. Any comments about sticking with the leaving thousands of dollars on the table? Mm-hmm. Any advice on selling retail products? This is the age-old, the clients are buying most of it at Ulta and Amazon. So what the hell? Where have we failed?
Yes, I think we are failing miserably in delivering the value that we have to offer along with the product, right? At the end of the haircut service, if you just walk up to someone and say, you should use this shampoo, or here's the shampoo I recommend, they're going to go, cool. They have no extra value added to that other than you said, choose this one. Okay, well, they can choose to buy it right then, or they can choose to buy it on Amazon. But if you have a conversation with them about the shampoo, here's how you use it. Here's why it's good for your hair. Here's why I love this one. Here's why I chose this one over this other one that we used last time. You are adding this whole like educational piece to it. They are going to feel more invested in you. They are going to want to buy from you, especially if you can literally hand them the product that moment, they will buy it from you. 100%. Yep. Like product sales, I think are so important in the salon. Yes, it's a pain to keep retail, but like the markup on that, there's literally nothing like it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's almost like free money.
It is. And people want it. You know, they want guidance. There's so many options. We have like option fatigue. You know what I mean? Like you're bombarded with commercials with it, with social media, sponsored ads. It's everywhere you look. And how do you choose? Usually people just pick the one that looks pretty. But if you had someone that was like shepherding you along the way, that then could follow up with you a week later, hey, how are you liking that shampoo you bought from me? Do you have any questions about it? Oh my God, you've just strengthened it. Yes, exactly.
I say this all the time. Going on to Amazon is inconvenient. Mm-hmm. Because if you go onto Amazon as a client, let's say somebody who doesn't know anything about hair, or they have hair, but they go on there, they need shampoo and conditioner, which one to buy of the thousands of shampoos? They need the input from the hair professional. And by the way, even if they know which shampoo to buy, to go onto Amazon, to find it, to make sure you're getting the right size, etc. It takes time. You are saving them time. You're doing your job as their hair professional to recommend the right product and have it for them. Yeah. What's funny about this is I'm thinking about my wife. She went to one of our hairdressers in Beverly Hills last week, and she came home with new shampoo and new conditioner that her hairdresser sold her. And it's kind of funny in my situation because we have, beauty supplies in all of our stores, and we have probably 100 products in our shower. No less than 100. Maybe more, like 120. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 125.
Yeah.
And you know how some showers have a bench? Well, our bench is literally covered. Our bench looks like the most crowded shelf in your salon with the random product on it, okay? So she comes home with new product, and she tries it, and she's like, oh my God, Matt was right. This is an amazing product for my hair right now. The way that my hair is right now, this is the best product. Of the 120 products here, this is the best one for me right now. Mm-hmm. And if I was a normal consumer husband, I'd be like, oh my God, like how much money in hair product. But of course, the only reason I'm in this situation is because we get a lot of it for free and try various things.
Sure.
But that is just how instructive it is, that the client needs a specific kind of product at a specific time. And this is going to help them keep their hair in better condition between appointments. And that's what the client wants. That's what the client needs from you, the hairdresser.
Right, right. And there's so much nuance to selling retail too. Like one little tidbit that I started doing very early in my career. By the way, I'm kind of an ingredient junkie, and I really like understanding kind of the technical aspects of products. And so I tend to be kind of a sharer of those things with my clients. I'm a bit of an educator with my clients. Now, that's not everyone's shtick, but that's how I do it. And one of the things I figured out early is that with my very fine-haired clients, especially with the products that we were retailing in the salon at the time, they did very well with the shampoos that had a clear quality to them, right? Like they were not milky or opaque at all. And then I told them that. I said, listen, this is why I think this is good for you. You can tell by literally opening the bottle and looking at the product, it doesn't have a lot of like heavy, creamy things in it. So it's going to be more lightweight for your hair. And what I didn't realize is by adding that step into the equation, they then couldn't go buy it online and know for sure with other products because no one's going to open the bottle for you on Amazon and see if it's clear, right?
Yep.
So I made it a little harder for them to make the decision outside of my salon, right?
And you let them know
Yeah.
that there is a right shampoo for them.
Yes.
Amazon doesn't know what kind of hair they have.
Right.
They're not
right.
going to know what to suggest. What Amazon is suggesting is based on what brands are paying them sponsorship money, etc. That's not what the client needs. The client needs a bespoke, custom recommendation. And if you
Right.
have it there, even better. You've saved them all that time. I hear some hairdressers say, well, my clients like to go to Ulta. I mean, they have to drive there, they park, they have to walk inside, they have that choice issue again. There's 50 brands. They have to choose the right one. Even if they know which brand, there's going to be 12 SKUs. Which one of those SKUs is the right one for their hair at that time? The clients need their hair experts. And what the outcome is a sale.
Yes.
It starts with helping and advising, consulting them.
Right.
And the result is a sale. And I think when you say salesperson, that's what you mean.
100%. Another layer to add in this too is I think this comes back to understanding who you are as a brand and who your ideal client is and what makes them tick, right? Because let's say you are a small boutique salon that focuses on organic and natural hair care, and your clients care about that. Like, lean into that sort of education when you're selling retail products. Like, why is this a good product? Why is this a good choice? Why is buying from you a good choice versus buying from Target or Ulta or whatever? And lean into their kind of emotional drivers as you make these decisions with them, and they will be way more inclined to follow your lead and buy from you.
Absolutely. Let me count correctly. Number 5, lack of planning for the client experience and customer journey.
Yes. This has gotten more long. The customer journey has gotten more long as more people are, doing online booking with websites and then social media. When I say the customer journey, the journey is from the moment they are aware that you exist to the aftercare after you have already done their hair, right? And even beyond, because now you've done one service and now you're establishing a relationship and rapport with this person. And so to understand your customer journey, you need to understand this ideal client of yours. How are they going to find you? How are they going to discover who you are? What does it look like to book with you? What does it look like to communicate with you? What does it look like to walk in your door? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they experiencing? What does it mean to sit in your chair? What does it mean to end a service with you? How are they paying? And then what does it look like afterwards? Are you communicating with them? Are you texting with them? Are you emailing them? All of that is your customer journey, and everyone's customer journey is going to be very different. But I think if you're not thinking about that, you are missing out on business. You're missing out on establishing those relationships with your clients that keep them coming back time and time again.
Amen. It's sometimes difficult for people. Sometimes, this is a natural thing for somebody to consider, but I think a lot of people don't really like to put themselves in their client's shoes,
right,
and take an honest look at the journey that you as a beauty professional are offering to the client.
Yes.
Because oftentimes what results is, you having to put in work to clean up your studio, or you having to respond faster to certain things, or you having to put a little bit more effort into making sure the right products are there available, or having to put more effort into finding the right booking app to use. And those things take time, and therefore that's friction. But worth it in the end, isn't it?
It is, because first of all, when you're attracting the right people and you're serving them the way that they feel served best, it all becomes easier in the end, like less friction later. I feel like there's a quote that I feel like is coming to mind right now. My husband and I talk about all the time is easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life, right? Like sometimes you just got to
So
do the
good.
work ahead of time and it pays off later.
They're clapping for that one. They're clapping for that one.
I love that.
So yeah, no, it's so important, and it reminds me of this sociological study they did. I think it was Australia, and this goes back decades because it's been going on for like I think 40 or 50 years. And I'm going to get the details wrong, listeners, so don't get mad at me. Don't send me like hate DMs. You're wrong about it. The point is that they did a study. They took a bunch of kids, and they did they tried to assess their willingness to delay gratification. And I think it was a very simple thing. I think it was like marshmallows. So, take one marshmallow now or wait till 5 p.m. and you get 2 marshmallows and something like that. And then they wrote it all down, and they followed these kids and through adulthood over the course of decades. And they found a distinct correlation between those who delayed the gratification with getting more marshmallows later and success in their lives. And that's really what it boils down to with the harder choices. Mm-hmm. It's, delay the gratification of your next 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Go through the more difficult effort because the gratification is going to be it's going to be greater and down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And it's not easy to do in the moment, but it's so worth it.
Okay, life lesson. So now number 6, the constant threat that you're going to run out of cash. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom, boom. I wish I had some sort of ominous soundbite. I bet I do. I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
No, it's all positive ones. I need to get a negative ominous one.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the fear of most people in our industry? I mean, because when the clients aren't coming, the money stops, right? So you have to constantly be checking and rechecking, taking the temperature of your business and making sure that people are coming in and paying you money. Mm-hmm. And if there's no people, there's no money.
Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you have any hair horror stories?
I bet I have some in there somewhere. I'm trying to think. The first thing that comes to mind was just kind of a funny thing at the salon. It actually wasn't my story, but my coworker's story.
Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
I accept.
It was just a very
third person.
Silly mistake. She had this client that would come in every month for a little trim. It was this older woman, and she had this mole on her forehead.
Oh boy. And
it was the kind of mole, we called it her hamburger mole because it kind of looked like ground beef. You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of moles. We look at heads all the time. We know what we're talking about. Okay, hamburger mole.
I was cool with the mole until you described it as a hamburger.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So she had a hamburger mole on her forehead. And my coworker was trimming her bangs and combed a little aggressively.
Oh, God.
Combed the mole clean off and didn't realize it. She said the woman didn't even flinch, but all of a sudden there's a trail of blood coming down her nose. And my coworker is like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And the woman goes, "Oh my God, my mole is gone." And she just sticks her finger on her forehead to stop the bleeding because it's bleeding pretty profusely at this point. And I kind of hear what's going on, and I look over and I look at my coworker and I'm like, "Where's the mole?"
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it's everyone stopped because I don't know why we're just trying to find this mole because it's gross that this thing just flung. I mean, it's the size of your pinky nail, a big mole.
Would somebody find the mole, please?
And so everything stops, all blow dryers turn off, and we're all hands and knees looking around for this mole, and we didn't end up finding it actually. And the poor woman, nope, mole was gone. I'm someone's gonna find this in a drawer somewhere in 6 months, and it's gonna be all dried up, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that's what that is."
That is so disgusting. I mean, it was probably in the Cape, no?
Who knows? We never found it. I don't know.
Did she get nervous about combing? Did she comb out the hair after that? Because maybe it was stuck in the hair.
Yeah, she finished her haircut eventually, but like, I mean, and the poor lady, so she's like holding like gauze on her, forehead now. I don't know if they put a Band-Aid on her or if she just stuck her finger on it the rest of the time. And like, we're all just dying laughing. And even the client was laughing too. And I'm just like, this poor woman just got her like mole removed in the hair salon.
Well, wasn't that a benefit?
I mean, it probably saved her some money. Dermatologists are not cheap.
Right? No.
Yeah. I don't know if it ever grew back. That's the only one that comes to mind.
Well, on that, we're going to wrap up the episode with the mole. The mole pretty much did in the episode. I don't think I can keep going.
The missing mole.
The missing mole. Oh. All right. You're Crystal Green. You're your.hair.mentor on Instagram. You're yourhairmentor.com on the worldwide interweb. And check her out, everybody. Thank you so much. So many great things.
Thank you so much for having me. And, I will say, if anyone's interested in anything we've talked about, I have a freebie available on my website called the Client Experience Toolkit, available at yourhairmentor.com.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal.